It's Tuesday, February 25. In the headlines, some services at public hospitals have been suspended due to sick out. In business news, Bank of Jamaica holds policy rate amid declining inflation. Regionally, air bridge between Togo and Barbados coming soon. And in sports, Reggae Girlz to face Peru after winning the first of two friendlies. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Elective surgeries in public hospitals have been suspended, and patients will be advised of new dates for their appointments. Clinic appointments at outpatient departments of public hospitals have also been postponed until further notice. The Ministry of Health and Wellness advised of the measures in a release Monday afternoon due to protest action of government medical consultants. Members of that group called in sick on Monday, showing their discontent about compensation talks with the authorities. Members of the public are also being advised to maintain health precautions such as frequent hand washing to prevent seasonal illnesses, including colds and flu. Patients should also manage existing health conditions by taking prescribed medications and adhering to treatment plans. $270 million has been earmarked for continuation of the project to transform the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI. This project should improve patient experience at the institution. The matter has been noted in the 2025-2026 estimates of expenditure, now before the House of Representatives. The project began last year with the construction of a new parking area, which is at 90% completion, and the design of new tower drawings. An architect will be contracted in this financial year to undertake modification of designs to the building. Plans are also in place for the engagement of a commissioning agent and a FIDIC engineer, and to obtain requisite municipality approvals to go to market for construction works. The UHWI is the premier local and regional referral center. It provides critical care, which includes accident and emergency, intensive care, neonatal intensive care, coronary care, and specialist care, consisting of cardiac and complex neurosurgical procedures. Current and past students of the Northern Caribbean University, NCU, are being warned that personal data could be released to the public following a major cyber attack that has crippled key computer systems, forcing the administration to issue the warning. The attack occurred on Saturday. In a statement on Monday evening, the Manchester-based institution said university records and student financial databases are inaccessible. The university says a multi-agency response has been triggered, with reports filed to the Jamaica Cyber Incident Response Team, the Office of the Information Commissioner, and the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency. Jamaica's legal fraternity is mourning the loss of veteran attorney at law, King's Counsel, Valerie Neita Robertson, who passed away on Monday morning at the age of 71 after a battle with brain cancer. A formidable figure at the criminal bar, she was known for her tenacity and fierce advocacy. Colleagues remember her as a legal powerhouse. Both the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party have expressed condolences, with People's National Party President Mark Golding hailing her dedication to justice and public service. A legal stalwart, Valerie Neita Robertson leaves behind a legacy of commitment and excellence in the profession. More than 30% of Jamaica's elderly are living with dementia, some of whom are not aware. Senior personnel from the Health and Wellness Ministry held an open discussion about the disease and how it affects families at the private screening of Sugar Dumpling at the Bob Marley Museum Theatre on the weekend. Jamaican actor and comedy legend Oliver Samuels delivered a stellar performance as the male lead in the heartfelt short film that explores how a daughter navigates her relationship with her father, who is living with dementia. Our news team attended the event. Dementia is the loss of cognitive functioning, thinking, remembering, and reasoning to such an extent that it interferes with a person's daily life and activities. Some people with dementia cannot control their emotions, and their personalities may change.
Your father's behavior is problematic.
You're mad?
What's wrong with you?
Ebony, a young Jamaican-Canadian woman, has to find ways to connect with her father, Desmond, played by Oliver Samuels. Actress Chantel Riley says she connected with her character, Ebony, through personal experience.
Unfortunately, my grandmother passed away with dementia, and so there was a point in time where she was staying with us. It's my mother's mom, and so I got to watch her decline, actually, and see my mother take care of her mother. And so, it was a whole family effort, and it was hard to watch my mom actually, and very heartbreaking to watch my mom see her mother go into this decline. And so I didn't have to dig too deep into a character because I kind of experienced it for myself.
The film's director and writer Tristan Barracks was keen on connecting with the Jamaican audience.
The core question that I wanted to put out there with this film is, how do you love somebody you don't like, right? We all have family members that we're like, are you really my family? Do I really have to love you? And oftentimes the toughest situations can either bring out the best out of us or the worst. And I think, the question around an aging population, aging parents, that's a real thing. My parents are in their 70s, and I think about their own mortality, my own mortality, and how are we transitioning, right? How are we taking care of the elders and honoring them? And
Danisha Prendergast is an executive producer for the film.
They reached out to me, Tristan reached out to me for music, to give him some insight into the soundtrack. But once I read the script and I really assessed what it was all about, I realized that there was more to this conversation. And as Jamaican-Canadian filmmakers, they're trying to tell a story that also relates closer to being here in Jamaica. I knew I could provide a link to creating a space for that to happen. In addition to that social impact, because that is my world, Oliver being such an amazing human and memory in our hearts. I just felt like this was a moment where we could really use this film to talk about dementia in a way that nobody really does.
Attendants were able to share their views and discuss some of the issues and themes highlighted in the film.
We have the prevalence data now for Jamaica, and we know that over 80 population is going to be somewhere between 35 and 40% of dementia. So the film, regardless of anything, is very timely because it draws the spotlight on the fact that dementia is now one of our chronic diseases. Prior to this, prior to the last 10 years, dementia has been something that has been hidden. People keep them at home, they keep them in the back room, they don't want to bring them out. Any film that can treat dementia in such a humane way is going to be a positive contribution to the dialogue.
I feel like the film brings up a lot of emotions, even as the previous speaker was talking about loving a family member that you don't like. And so even if you're not dealing with that specific health challenge or issue, it's like it's still brought to thought for me, how do I maneuver dealing with a family member I don't like?
and I feel like the film was quite instructive.
I thought it was wonderful. I congratulate the filmmakers for making the effort, for making the film. I thought the acting was superb, especially the ending. I was totally moved by it. The story itself is one that touched me deeply.
In the business report, the Bank of Jamaica is keeping its policy rate steady at 6% per year. Bank of Jamaica's Governor Richard Biles made the announcement at the bank's quarterly monetary policy press conference following last Thursday's decision by the Monetary Policy Committee.
From those deliberations, the MPC determined that the current level of policy rate continues to be appropriate to support inflation remaining within the bank's target range of 4 to 6%. As such, the committee unanimously agreed to 1. Maintain the policy rate at 6% per annum, and 2. Preserve relative stability in the foreign exchange market.
Governor Biles pointed to a significant decline in headline inflation as a key reason for the decision.
On the 17th of February, the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, reported that headline inflation at January 2025 was 4.7%, representing a general declining trend from the 7.4% at January 2024. Core inflation, which excludes the prices of agricultural food products and fuels from the CPI, was 4% at January 2025, remaining consistently below 6% since July of 2023. This outturn reflects the fact that the sources of inflation have been moderated.
He also noted that private sector expectations, a key driver of headline inflation, are continuing to decline. The Jamaica Stock Exchange, JSE, has been expanding its educational initiatives, reaching audiences from primary school students to seasoned investors. Since launching its Caribbean Business Exchange cable television channel in 2022 as part of its educational programs, the JSE has seen tremendous feedback with increasing participation and engagement from various segments of the population. Managing Director of the JSE, Dr. Marlene Street Forest, recently joined the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service Finance Matters program to discuss the various educational initiatives designed to create a culture of financial awareness and demystify the concept of investments in Jamaica. The companies listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange shared their financial results with shareholders. We share 3 of the most recent financial results. Productive Business Solutions Limited unaudited financials for the 12 months ended December 31, 2024, with a net profit attributable to shareholders of $8.40 million. JMMB Group Limited's unaudited financials for the 9 months ended September 30, 2024, reports 89% decline in 9 months net profit. Pulse Investment Limited's unaudited financials for the 6 months ended December 31, 2024, reports 65% decline in 6 months net profit. Denise Williams brings us the latest market data.
For the trading period ending February 24, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 2,308,982 units traded, representing 21.56% of market sales volume. Investment firm Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with 1,172,991 units traded, representing 10.95% of market sales volume. Alternative energy provider Wigton Energy Limited with 1,700,000 16,104 units traded, representing 9.49% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On February 24, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $55.92 million purchased and US $82.47 million sold by Forex traders. And Forex traders earned $1.43 per dollar, selling the US at $158.06 and buying the US at $156.63. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders $2.49 per transaction, with selling at $112.39 and buying at $109.90. The British pound yielded Forex traders $2.96 in profits, with selling at $199.11 and buying at $196.15. For our credit report tip of the day, if you're a freelancer or gig worker, the rising cost of higher education can feel overwhelming, especially without a steady paycheck or employer benefits. But here's the good news. Your credit score can open doors to smart financial strategies that make college more affordable for your children. So if your challenge is that traditional student loans have high interest rates, then the solution is with good credit, you can co-sign private student loans at a lower rate or refinance a parent loan for better terms.
In regional news, Barbados and the Togolese Republic are strengthening ties with a new air bridge between the two nations. Minister in the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Investment, Senator Chad Blackman, made the announcement as a trade and investment mission from Togo began its official visit. Speaking at a media briefing at his Warren's St. Michael office, the senator highlighted the move as a continuation of last year's Barbados mission to Togo. Trevor Thorpe has more.
The air bridge will unlock partnerships for investment and trade, as well as cooperation and technical support. And according to Minister Blackman, diplomatic relations have already been established between Togo and Barbados, and visa requirements for the citizens of the two countries have been removed.
The purpose of it also this week is to really explore how can we now build out, particularly for our business sector in Barbados, what are some of the opportunities that Togo can present for our business sector. And by business sector, I don't only just mean the traditional aspect of business, where we mean the established companies large. Also, our young entrepreneurs must see this as an opportunity for them to be able to tap into the fast-growing economy that is Togo.
Minister Blackman says a number of initiatives will be realized from this visit from Togo, which has a population of just over 9 million.
This mission this week, as I said, started last year when we went there, but it really is a culmination of a 2-year dialogue, manifesting last year and now coming here for us to now build out the relationship between West Africa. Of course, with Togo, we have the relationships with Ghana, Nigeria, and many others, but using Barbados as that hub for Africa into the Caribbean, and equally also using Lomé and Togo as a hub for Barbados and the Caribbean into Africa.
Head of the Togolese delegation, Mayor Okote Adambunu, speaking through an interpreter, said air transport, commerce and trade ranks high on their agenda.
Togo is a strategically placed country for West Africa, a country, which has a port, a deep water harbor, which means that a lot of products pass through our country in order to go to the countries in the Sahel area. I mean, they also, in order to develop commerce and actual business between Barbados and Togo, it's like the development and actual commerce between Africa and the Caribbean.
The public sector-private sector trade mission from the Togolese Republic will end on Thursday.
Advocates in Antigua and Barbuda are raising concerns over a rise in gender-based violence and workplace sexual harassment. They say more employees are speaking out, exposing a troubling trend. Jamie J. Rocher has more.
The workplace should be a safe space, but for too many employees, it's a place of fear and intimidation. Advocacy group Women Against Rape says reports of sexual harassment and gender-based violence are climbing.
There was an uptick in 2024. I can speak from the reports that Women Against Rape received, and yes, there was definitely an increase. I would say about between 2 to 5% of sexual violence, especially in the workplace.
The Neita Trades and Labor Union confirms the trend, with more workers filing complaints over inappropriate and unwanted behavior.
On behalf of the workplaces, I would have to agree with Nurse Wong. There definitely was an increase in 2024. We saw a few more issues, grievance matters that dealt with sexual harassment. So I will definitely agree with her that there was an increase in 2024 than the years gone by.
Advocates say the effects of sexual harassment go beyond discomfort. Victims often experience emotional strain, causing many to take days off from work, which in turn leads to financial difficulties.
Because there is this feeling, as was expressed by some of the persons who were violated, there's this feeling that, well, everybody knows what has happened to me. So that in a great sense, kind of cripples the person's level of performance.
With more victims stepping forward, advocates say stronger laws are needed. A national sexual harassment bill is in the works, with public awareness campaigns already on the way. As the country gears up for the 2025 Stop Gender-Based Violence Walk, organizers hope to keep the conversation going and push for real change in workplaces nationwide. The event is set for March 8, beginning 2 p.m. at the Botanical Gardens. Advocates say participation is key to ensuring safer workplaces for everyone. Jamie J. Rocher, ABS News.
Public outrage is mounting in St. Lucia after a series of brutal attacks, with citizens demanding urgent action from officials.
It's not just making a statement, but it is to take action. And the action is that we need to ensure that we put mechanisms in place to protect all men and women in St. Lucia.
A string of horrific attacks, from a deadly chopping in Choiseul to 2 women gunned down and stabbed in separate incidents, both employees at the same establishment, as well as 2 cases of brother-on-brother murder, has sparked outrage among the public. Citizens are calling for answers and demanding that public officials speak out. For Gender Affairs Minister Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot, it's not enough to offer lip service. Action is required.
We have just completed a review of the Women's Support Center to determine the status of that entity, because many people thought it was a government agency, whereas government gives support to help the agency function, but it is not a government entity. So it is supposed to be run by a statutory board, and then they actually manage the entity by itself. So now we are going to table this report in cabinet, and government will take a position as to what is the status of this entity. But right now they are actually engaging persons virtually in terms of giving them the assistance.
The minister emphasizes the need for swift measures to identify weaknesses within the systems meant to protect citizens and to strengthen them urgently.
We also have the Crisis Center, which government, they have just established a new board, and they have written to the Department of Gender indicating that they have to vacate the location where they are. And we are actually trying to secure additional funding from government to give them the support. But we are waiting for the new board to put their programs in place so that we can give that entity a new outlook when they resume their operations in the new location where they will be. However, in the meantime, the Department of Gender will be giving them some space at least to deal with the clients that come in while we establish a new location for them.
Dr. Albert Poyot spotlighted that the Domestic Abuse Act No. 11 of 2022 makes provisions for individuals with knowledge of or reasonable grounds to suspect that a person has committed, is committing, or is likely to commit an act of domestic violence to make a report to a police officer.
Before, it was only the victim who could report. Now, any bystander or any person who sees or knows of the incident can report the matter to the police. And the legislation also speaks to the woman or the victim does not have the right to withdraw the case. You cannot withdraw the case. You cannot waste the police time starting the case and later you say you are not coming and you are not appearing. They will proceed with the case.
In sports, we kick off with football. Jamaica's Reggae Girlz will square off with Peru again on Wednesday in Peru at 4 p.m. Jamaica time. Jody Brown and Kayla McKenna both scored and assisted as Jamaica's Reggae Girlz beat Peru 2-0 in the first of their two friendly internationals on Sunday. It was the third straight win for the girls, their first 3-win streak since 2022 after beating South Africa in 2 games played in Montego Bay late last year. The Under-20 Reggae Girlz failed to advance in the CONCACAF Women's Under-20 qualifiers after a late equalizer from Adriana Munguia earned Nicaragua a 1-1 draw at the National Football Stadium in Nicaragua on Monday. The result means Jamaica finished second in Group D with 7 points, tied with Nicaragua, who took the group honors with a better goal difference. The Trinidad and Tobago Under-20 women's football team continued their winning ways on Sunday with a convincing victory in the 2025 CONCACAF Women's Under-20 qualifiers, be contested at the Otto Bolden Stadium. But will it be enough to advance as they face powerhouse Canada on Tuesday? Wayne Cunningham has the highlights from Cova.
On the heels of a 3-0 triumph over Bermuda in their opening match in the CONCACAF Women's Under-20 qualifiers, Trinidad and Tobago put in a solid performance versus Dominica in their second match to set up a winner-take-all clash with group leaders Canada on Tuesday. Incidentally, a draw will suffice for the Canadians in that crucial encounter as they boast a superior goal difference with 30 goals in that column, following a 9-0 win over Bermuda in Sunday's opening match at Couva. Trinidad and Tobago has 10 goals, 4 and none against. Hakima Goodridge got the scoring started early for the home team with an item in the 12th minute. Team captain Oriel Martin got on the score sheet 5 minutes later. Then came a beaver trick from Jelisa Alexander, starting with the first goal in the 24th. He then deposited in the 31st from a tight angle after a fine run to give the Warrior women a 4-0 lead at the half. The hat-trick came in the 66th, and Alexander registered her 4th and TNT 6th in the 71st.
Cut back. Plenty of time for Alexander. Shoots with her left foot and scores. 4 goals.
Madison Campbell scored in stoppage time to round out the 7-0 win for TNT. Head coach Durnell Maskell and her squad will be going all out on Tuesday to secure a spot in the CONCACAF Championships. And she spoke about the task ahead with TTFA Media.
Of course, we're up against the giants of CONCACAF. So to say dress rehearsals, I would not say that. It remains the same. We took one game at a time, and now the task at hand is Canada. We want to be dynamic, like we said before. Athleticism is always a good thing, and then we have some very tactical players.
The former national defender had a message from her team to the fans.
Thanks for coming out and supporting us, and the 12th man will be very important on Tuesday as we play Canada.
At stake, a chance for a place in the 2026 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in Poland. Wayne Cunningham, TTT Sport.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.